Here at Donington, we're getting ready for the final race of the weekend in the Radical Challenge, and this is the endurance race, over 50 minutes with mandatory pit stops. And this time you have to factor in success penalties within the pit stops as well. Jerome de Sadelier will start on pole position. He and Dominic Jackson have had a win apiece this weekend, and it's 15 seconds worth of pit stop penalty for Jerome de Sadelier, 20 for Dominic Jackson, because he was the winner of the earlier endurance race. Jerome de Sadelier second, and so he gets the slightly shorter pit stop. Mark Richards in the black car, number 52 on the second row, 10 seconds. And they're leaning on each other down to the end of the rolling start lap. This is going to go well, isn't it, if they're doing this already? Jerome de Sadelier on pole, Dominic Jackson alongside him. It's a rather fractious rolling start lap. Let's see what 50 minutes of racing has in store. The safety car, the pace car as it is, peels into the pit lane. We will go racing now as Jack Constable on the outside line dives out of the draft. The pit window between 20 and 30 minutes, and the cars dive down towards Redgate. There's somebody off on the grass already. That looked like it might have been the guest car of John Hindhoff that's got it all wrong. But as the leaders go out of Redgate, down through the Craner Curbs for the first time, battle is joined between Jerome de Sadelier, who leads, and Dominic Jackson in second place. Plunging downhill then for the first time. De Sadelier from pole leads the way, but he's got to pull out effectively an extra gap over the opposition because of that pit stop penalty that he's going to serve. So he needs to be at least 5 seconds clear of Richards, maybe 10 plus over Jack Constable. Dominic Jackson, though, with 20 seconds, really does have a task on his hands. As through on the inside of Spencer Bourne there goes number 66 of Brian Cordwell. Race leaders out of copies for the first time, and then speed building down towards the chicane. We've had some great racing from these cars all weekend. 1500cc 4-cylinder Suzuki engines powering the Radical SR3. 226 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and 147 miles an hour as a top speed. And the leaders come over the timing line, and there in the gravel already, I'm afraid to say, coming out of the chicane, is Mark Richards. From the second row of the grid, he was running third, and Mark Richards is off the road. And looking at that, this may end up being a safety car period, because he's beached in the gravel, and if anybody else goes wide, they are likely to strike the parked car. Big shame that, because Mark Richards was on the podium in the earlier sprint race, having bagged third. The safety car is indeed coming out. He was on the podium as well in the first endurance race. John Hindhoff with damage, so maybe he didn't fall, he was pushed at the start. But either way, he is back in the race. This might piece it all together in replay. Down towards Redgate then. Gets to the braking area, and got a discernible tap in the tail there. Off he goes, all over the grass, finds the right direction, and a strip of tarmac for traction. Safety car will be in this time. The race to get back underway. And Jerome de Sadelier blasts out of the chicane then. He's being chased by Simon Jackson, and then Jack Constable in third place. That safety car has helped him because it means he hasn't dropped back quite so far, and with a shorter pit stop, he could well be in the mix in the second stint in the race. Single drivers, even though we've got the pit stops. And there, Spencer Bourne goes through on the inside of Peter Tyler to gain a place, but he goes a little bit wide, and Tyler fights back on the inside now, going up towards Hollywood, but he can't find a way through. So, Spencer Bourne hangs on to the place. He's had a pretty good weekend, actually, with some good results, and he's made progress in the races as well. So up front, the race leader, Jerome de Sadelier, trying to break away, but Dominic Jackson keeping him honest here. Dominic Jackson, who's raced all sorts of things over the years, having started off in Formula BMW. We've seen him not only in Radicals, he was the champion last year, but historic Formula 4. Jerome de Sadelier, whose father Stanislas de Sadelier used to be a Group C2 racer. Marker cone goes flying there. That was assaulted by John McLeod, number 14, who had mechanical woes in the second race and dropped back late on. But de Sadelier, whose brother Hugo is part of, or has been part of, the United Autosports LMP2 squad, experienced sports car driver, and Jerome de Sadelier using this to gain experience, perhaps before he goes on to a European sports car stage. Performance per pound, there's not much to rival the Radical Challenge, but we've got more drama at the chicane, and that, by the look of it, is Barry Liversidge, who is in the gravel. The next fight coming downhill, look, you can see there, number 14 of John McLeod coming under attack. We're also now getting plenty of drivers being warned about track limits. So as Barry Liversidge is pushed out of the gravel, he's able to get back into the race. We don't, thankfully, need a safety car there. up on the inside line there, look to gain ground as they come out of McLean's corner. Marcello Marattiotto, but then contact at the next corner. John Cordwell bounces off the side of him and gets all sideways. Marattiotto through, Cordwell fought back, and contact between the pair of them. This has the makings of being one of those races where if you survive, you're going to finish pretty well. Down on the inside line now, into the chicane goes Elliot Goodman, and that puts him ahead of Rod Goodman. Dad drops back, Rod having been in the gravel at turn 1 in both of the first 2 races. So the fact that he's got this far is a major result for him. So the family feud continues as up front, the race leader is still Jérôme de Sadelier. More and more warnings are coming about track limits, so as the drivers push on in a long race, if they continue to offend, the penalties are likely to get more and more draconian. There you've got number 8 going through. Now that is Spencer Bourne. He had a very good run in the second race of the weekend, even though it was only a 20-minute long sprint. He was 10th on the grid and finished 5th. Here are the leaders. Lead gap, I thought for a moment, might just have been coming down, but Jérôme de Sadelier it is who leads. Second still is Dominic Jackson, and then in third place Jack Constable dropping back a little bit now. Next battle is on there, look, you can see, because inching his way onto the tail of the traffic is Spencer Bourne. Just up ahead of him is Brian Cordwell as the cars now come once more over the timing line, and back markers are up the road, so this is the next test for de Sadelier. He's got to try and wriggle his way through the traffic. He's got to be decisive and incisive, but not lose time against the man behind him who's chasing, that's Dominic Jackson, but equally not take too many risks so he gets caught up or tripped up by the traffic. De Sadelier is the pioneer in all of this as he goes now through Chance Curve up towards McLean's. It's going to be the car of Barry Liversidge that they will negotiate first, back in the race after his gravelly experience down at the chicane. The lead gap has come right down to Sadelier, briefly delayed by the back marker, and so now as they sprint down towards the chicane, gets into the draft, but Dominic Jackson is closing up all the time on the leader. To the inside line goes Jérôme de Sadelier. He will go through, he does go through. Can Jackson get by as well? Yes! So the net result on that lap is that the gap has come down by 3-4 lengths between the top 2. Spencer Bourne makes another attack, this time on the inside of Brian Cordwell, goes through, gains another place. Spencer Bourne inching his way forward. Up front though, it's the Stuttgart-based Jérôme de Sadelier leading the way, and Spencer Bourne continuing to inch forward, gaining more ground now as he turns through Redgate. Challenge on behind, you can see on the inside line, John McLeod tries to get up on the inside line, but Peter Tyler fends him off there. Peter Tyler in the 360 Racing entry, keeping at bay John McLeod in the Raw Motorsports car. Down to the old hairpin they come, slightly tighter line taken by McLeod. Is that going to help him on the run now up towards Schwantz Curve? Let's see. Nose to tail they run, McLeod fights back on the inside, but he's got to be mindful of the fact that as much as he's attacking, he's got to defend as well. Right there behind is Jason Rishover, the property developer who began his career with the 750 Motor Club. And going better in this third race is Jason Rishover as they turn now from Coppice down to the chicane. The leaders come over the timing line once more, approaching the pit window, don't forget, at the 20 to 30 minute mark. And so now through Redgate Corner, Jérôme de Sadelier leads the way, but Dominic Jackson is bringing down the gap, helped a little bit by the traffic a couple of laps ago, but it's game on now between the race leaders. You got a lot of track time in this championship. This is the final race of the weekend. Challenge on the inside as John McLeod does now go ahead of Peter Tyler. Job done going into Redgate. And Jason Rishover tries to wriggle away by as well. He gets on the inside line at Hollywood, but what's the outcome going to be? Yes, he's through. Down through the Craner curves. So one place gained by John McLeod, one place gained by Jason Rishover, and Peter Tyler is the one who really loses out that time around. Now Jason Rishover, having proved that he can overtake, might now be on a roll. Can he get past John McLeod as well? Jason Rishover, another of the 360 Racing squad, has a look. McLeod defends though on the way into the double apex right of Coppice. Jerome de Sadelier and Dominic Jackson just go over the timing line, still getting well clear of the opposition into Redgate corner now. But Jackson it is, coming back at de Sadelier, who now has to go defensive into Redgate, and really for the first time in the race, and de Sadelier is sideways up the curve. Jackson is mounting a real bid. This is a proper lead battle. They're going to be side by side all the way down through the craners. This is brave stuff. There's just about room for Jackson, who goes through, but there's contact. De Sadelier with two wheels on the dirt has to give way, and Dominic Jackson, very uncompromising, very brave stuff. He is the new race leader, having hit the front and having hit de Sadelier. Can he get away? Nothing malicious in that. It was just two of them going for the same bit of real estate, going down through the craner curves. But into Coppice, Dominic Jackson, now the race leader, looking to try to build that advantage. De Sadelier tucked up behind him as they come now down towards the chicane once again, but it's been a good effort this so far by Dominic Jackson. Let's see whether or not he is going to be able to escape up the road, or whether Jerome de Sadelier can come back at him. At the moment, you'd put your money on Jackson, wouldn't you? He comes through. Another lap in the book, getting ever closer to the pit stop window, and Jerome de Sadelier now is the man with the work to do to play catch-up. Dominic Jackson leads. There's more after the break.